John Harbaugh needs to be fired. How many more years are the Ravens going to allow John Harbaugh to waste the greatest quarterback in NFL history? Yeah, I said it. Lamar Jackson is the greatest quarterback in NFL history. He doesn't need a ring to justify this. If you watch Lamar Jackson play, there's no way you can deny this being an all-time great talent. Lamar's the ultimate unicorn. He runs the ball like he's prime Walter Payton, and he throws that thing like he's the black Peyton Manning. Now, fortunately, Lamar Jackson has not been playing his best football as of late. He's not 100%, and it's pretty evident when you watch him play. He looks a little bit timid. He looks indecisive at times. And Lamar Jackson, since he started his first game as a rookie, has been the Ravens' identity. Lamar Jackson, for over several years, has been overcompensating for the Ravens' weak offensive personnel up until last year when they finally got some receivers, when they finally drafted Zay Flowers. And he's been overcompensating for a disastrous offensive line. Daniel Filet Mignon, anytime you're matched up against him, you're about to have an all-you-can-eat buffet on Lamar because he can't even do the simple thing as far as get hands on man. It's like the dude is just a traffic cone. You just run by him or you run through him. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't offer any resistance on that offensive line. That's what Lamar Jackson has to overcome. He has to overcome a coaching staff that time after time consistently lets him down. Lamar Jackson has been the Ravens' soul. If you take away the Baltimore Ravens and you were to just view this team without Lamar, you will see a football team that just isn't good because Lamar Jackson has been putting that Superman cape on and carrying this franchise, carrying John Harbaugh for years. And now with Lamar Jackson not being fully healthy and John Harbaugh actually having to be a good coach, you see the Ravens falling apart. When Lamar Jackson came back from his injury, you thought they could run the table. You probably never thought that they would lose to the Bengals on Thanksgiving, that they would lose to the Steelers, but they have because John Harbaugh's poor coaching is holding back Lamar Jackson. The Ravens constantly lose games because they're not fundamentally sound. They have stupid penalties. They beat themselves with dumb play calling, bad use of personnel in games. But when you have a great quarterback at full strength, he can make up for those bad decisions. He can make up for the bad play calling. But when he's not fully healthy and you need the rest of the team to carry their weight, they're unable to do so. Why? Because of the coaching. John Harbaugh only still has a job because of Lamar Jackson. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson coming in and saving the Ravens season during his rookie year, John Harbaugh would have been out of a job. Seriously, what does John Harbaugh do? Is he just a good motivator? Is he just a good rah-rah guy? He's supposed to be a defensive backs coach, but yet the Ravens DBs were getting torched by DK freaking Metcalf the other day. DK Metcalf had the best game that he's had as a Steeler against this Ravens secondary that we thought was turning the corner. The only two things that have brought the Ravens to success and close to a Super Bowl has been Lamar Jackson and Mike Macdonald. And when Mike Macdonald left for that Seahawks head coaching job, that's when the Ravens started to decline. That's when the Ravens started to fall off. Because Lamar Jackson can only put that cape on and be Superman for so long until eventually he can't anymore. And if Lamar Jackson retires without a Super Bowl, it's because of John Harbaugh, because of this flawed coaching. You can't make a deep playoff run when you have average to below average coaching, which is what the Ravens have been getting out of John Harbaugh. I've never seen a team beat themselves so much, unraveling so many big playoff games as much as what the Ravens have under John Harbaugh. If you can't sleep at night because you love Lamar Jackson just as much as what I do, because you can't fathom the greatest quarterback in NFL history retiring without a Super Bowl ring, you can point all your anger, all your frustration at John Harbaugh. This dude is not a good coach. You can say what you want to about how Mike Tomlin needs to go, how Mike Tomlin doesn't win in the postseason, but you got to have that same energy with John Harbaugh too. Because you got an all-time great quarterback, and you're letting him down once again because you can't carry your weight. There's a reason why John Harbaugh has such a terrible record without Lamar Jackson, because he's not a good coach. If Patrick Mahomes was to get injured today, Andy Reid could still find a way to keep the Chiefs afloat. If Matthew Stafford were to get injured, Sean McVay could still keep the Rams season afloat because that's what good head coaches do. The 49ers are about to make the playoffs despite having several injuries this year, losing their starting quarterback, losing several of their top 3 receivers, and yet they still are going to the playoffs because of how good of a coach Kyle Shanahan is. How is it that the 49ers can still overcome injuries, make it to the playoffs, but the Ravens can't with John Harbaugh though? The 49ers, with all the million injuries they've had this year, they're going to the playoffs, but with the Ravens now fully healthy, they're struggling to beat bottom feeders in the NFL. They're struggling to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. They're struggling to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can say anything you want to about how the refs lost the Ravens that game. That's cool, but that game never should have been close to begin with. The Steelers have been lifeless for over a month. Like, the fans were booing Mike Tomlin. They were saying, "Fire Tomlin. Fire Tomlin." They were shouting that all throughout the second half of that Bills game. The Steelers were supposed to get stumped out by the Ravens, but they weren't, because the Ravens aren't a well-coached team. The Ravens suck because of John Harbaugh. And I got a $50 bet going off my own. He tried to be slick and say, "Man, JT, we will win 11 games. We bet $50 that the Ravens won't win 11 games. And he tried to push it back and say, "Man, like, we still got the playoffs." My brother, the Ravens are not making it to the playoffs. The Ravens would not finish this season with a winning record. They would go 8-9 because you thought this team could have beat the Bengals on Thanksgiving. You thought they could have beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. What team on the Ravens schedule do you truly believe with all your heart that they have a shot at beating, and you feel 110% confident about it? Nobody, because they're not a well-coached team. You can't trust a team that constantly beats themselves, and that's on coaching. You can say the players got to make plays. You can say Lamar Jackson is just as responsible for the Ravens' disappointing season as what John Harbaugh is, but this is a coaching issue. Lamar isn't the issue. Lamar isn't going anywhere. John Harbaugh does need to go somewhere. He needs to go out of the city of Baltimore, on the couch to the unemployment line, because he no longer has what it takes to lead the Ravens to another Lombardi. And you are wasting the greatest quarterback talent that this league has ever seen because of incompetent coaching from John Harbaugh. How long are the Ravens going to allow this to transpire? How long is it until the Ravens make John Harbaugh pay for his war crimes of wasting the most talented quarterback that we will ever see play this game? We would never see another quarterback like Lamar Jackson. We would never see the closest thing to a perfect quarterback like what Lamar Jackson is. There's not a single thing that Lamar Jackson can't do other than carry a competent head coach that's only still employed because of his greatness. Imagine if Lamar Jackson had a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan. This brother might not ever stop winning Super Bowls. But the Ravens are so attached, their history, they're so attached to what John Harbaugh has done in the past. If we're going to harp on Mike Tomlin for being unable to win a playoff game, if we're going to get on Sean McDermott for constantly underachieving in the postseason with Josh Allen, we got to have the same energy with John Harbaugh. And I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I root against Lamar every time he plays against the black and gold, but I always root for him any other occasion, because I love Lamar Jackson. Literally, like, if Lamar Jackson doesn't win a Super Bowl, my life would not be complete. Like, I root for the Ravens every time they're not playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, only because I love Lamar, and I still can't get over the fact that the Steelers passed on him for Terrell Edmonds. We passed on Lamar Jackson for a safety that's not even in the league no more. So it's like every time I see Lamar Jackson warming up before the Ravens and Steelers games, I'm going to be honest, I get jealous as a Steelers fan, because he should be playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But no, our stupid organization had to draft a box safety over him. And that's why I love Lamar Jackson so much. I've been watching Lamar Jackson since he blew up his final year in high school, his freshman year, starting at Louisville when he had the hurdle against Syracuse. I've been watching Lamar Jackson ever since I first started watching football. I want Lamar Jackson to win, but obviously the Ravens don't want Lamar Jackson to win because they refuse to fire John Harbaugh, who's been living off the greatness of Lamar Jackson ever since he saved his job his rookie season. When I saw Lamar Jackson saving John Harbaugh's job, that told me how this relationship was going to go. It was going to be a one-sided parasitic relationship. Lamar Jackson is overcompensating for the Ravens' poor coaching, their bad use of personnel, and when you have a guy who's not 100%, who can't be Superman like how he has in the past, your coaching issues get exposed. Your flaws on the offensive line get exposed.